What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about Lucid, I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what is really impacting it today, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid is down 0.25%, 201 the low, 207 the high, and you were seeing 35 million shares being traded within the first roughly 45 minutes of the trading day. So ultimately today's going to be a little bit low on the volume front. Aside from all of that though, what is impacting the broader market and Lucid is data. So ultimately, ADP employment came in at negative 33,000, forecast of 90. Not only does this directly contradict the JOLT numbers from yesterday, but this is not the best. And so I see some people online saying, hey, well, this does justify a rate cut at least. And normally I would kind of tend to agree, but when it comes down to the market, it wants a slight miss just to justify, again, a rate cut. This is a horrific miss, negative 33,000 versus forecast of 90. So ultimately, a lot of people are jumping to conclusions that this is more of a weakening in the overall kind of labor market. So that's not necessarily what Powell was really kind of looking at to this magnitude. So let me know your viewpoint on that in the comments below. So that's what's causing some level of uncertainty in the market. But specific to Lucid, what is also impacting it is Q2 numbers. So Tesla put out their Q2 numbers. Deliveries came in at 384, and that was a little bit lower than the analyst expectations of 394. So at the end of the day, that isn't all that great. I think Tesla is moving higher because of the overall production numbers, but they did miss, I guess, on the delivery numbers. So that might be causing some potential issue and trickling down to other EVs. Aside from that, Rivian also did put out their Q2 numbers, and they did produce 5,979, delivered 10,661, reaffirmed guidance of between 40 and 46. So same as what recently happened with the Chinese EVs, how a lot of them were kind of lowering guidance. I feel like for Rivian, there was a common understanding that they were setting the bar very low for themselves, and then they were going to exceed it. But given these numbers, it's kind of questionable if they're even going to hit these very low targets that they set for themselves between 40 and 46. So that's not all that great. And then of course, Rivian did another round of funding. And so I think potentially a lot of that could really hit home to Lucid. One thing that did come out slightly after my video yesterday, which I put it out early in the morning, was this right here. So these are all estimates, but estimate sales from June 2025 for the States only. So keep in mind, just the States. So ultimately it did show Lucid with 840 for the cars, 0 for trucks. So they do consider SUVs trucks. And so ultimately in June, Lucid did not sell any Gravities. One potential cause could be that EPA testing. We do know that it just recently did pass like 2 weeks ago. I know that sometimes is a lot of rubber stamps and just a lot of waiting. So potentially that could have taken up to like 3 months, maybe. So maybe that's one cause on exactly why no Gravities were sold in June. But nonetheless, all of that is just kind of speculation. So at the end of the day, this for face value does cause a little bit of concern, and most likely did attribute to yesterday's pullback. So at the end of the day, not all that great for just the EV sector today. Aside from that though, nothing new from Lucid itself, no SEC filings or anything like that. So it is just piggybacking off of the broader market and essentially Tesla and Rivian's numbers. Lucid shorts, they are currently increasing 2.1 million shares, 32.83% of the free floats being shorted, works to be 404 million shares overall are being shorted. So we are now at another new all-time high short interest. So for those of you that believe that Lucid's a squeeze play, that might make you a little bit more excited. And actually now it's at 2.67 million. So shorts are continuously increasing. It looks as like that. But when it comes down to when I first started covering Lucid, I thought that it was Peter, that shorts were kind of doubling down and trying to destroy Lucid because of Peter. But with Peter's kind of departure or just stepping aside, shorts are now, I feel like, increasing at a faster rate than ever before. So I feel like they are trying to target the PIF. So yeah, whoever's shorting Lucid definitely really wants to kind of burn a hole in the PIF, because of course, when it comes down to future funding for Lucid, which most likely will be occurring this quarter, as I've estimated, probably near the end of this quarter, but all of that dilution is going to cause Lucid stock price to go down and ultimately burn a deeper pocket in the PIF. So again, I think that's Shorts' bigger plan. So hopefully Lucid has something up their sleeve at the end of the day. But moving over to the options, 148,000 in calls, 87,000 in puts. 60% of all the options being done today are bearish in nature. So people are still clearly anticipating more downside for Lucid, so not all that great. Of the bulls, you see now a consensus for it to be above 2. So the optimism for it to be above 250 has kind of come and gone. So now it looks like the optimism is just $2. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub $2. So clearly 2 is a kind of key pivot. These are all the transactions occurring so far in the secondary market above $100,000. So pretty much majority is selling, except for these two right here, 105,000 and then 326. So big money is not necessarily buying the Lucid dip until probably they put out their Q numbers, which most likely will be the second week of July. And I've stated that in the past, but I feel like a lot of people maybe didn't understand that. When I'm talking Q2 numbers, that's just simply them announcing the date of their Q2 actual earnings and their Q2 production and delivery numbers, not their full numbers. So again, it's just the production and delivery numbers that will be in the second week of July. Most likely their actual true earnings is going to be in the first 2 weeks of August. Probably, I think that's always around August the 6th or 7th. That's what they typically do. So something to keep in mind. With it at 204, it does seem to be recovering with Tesla, which is always a good thing. So right now with it at 204, trading between this S1 and this S2. So 203 is going to be a strong support. Just watch for that. And then 208 is going to be the next strong target / resistance point. So kind of just watch for both of those, and if you're wanting to average down, just take note of some of the support levels. Aside from all of that though, nothing new from any analysts or anything. Most likely they'll be waiting for Lucid's upcoming Q2 earnings, and then aside from that though, no articles, nothing really coming out associated to Lucid or anything like that. On the actual chart, there's because of the recent pullback, it did reset the stochastic RSI, so it is somewhat neutral in nature. And if it does continue, get to, let's say, that $98 range, this is where it will be considered oversold. So maybe that's kind of a good thing, resetting the technicals. But on the actual chart, it's not really much positive to bring up. It's below all the key pivotal moving averages, and it's more of in a death spiral right now. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid in the comments below. What's your overall kind of thoughts? Are you buying? Are you selling Lucid? I did see a interesting comment on social media. So, of course, we do know that we kind of pre-build the molds, send them out to Saudi. They build them. They put down, I think, made in Saudi Arabia or made in KSA, something like that. So, regardless, they kind of put some pride in it. I know that Lucid is a California kind of originating company, but they need to really, I think, brand themselves as also American. So if they are selling in the States, they should put down made in America. That, I think, in my opinion, given the current administration, might look favorably to him, maybe, if that makes sense. That's just my 2 cents. I know Lucid likes to do what it wants, and in my opinion, seems rather stubborn towards change, but I think at the end of the day, given the current administration, tariffs, putting down made in America might actually benefit them. And again, that's completely separate from what is built at AMP2, because Saudi, they're proud of what they make. This is why they put down made in KSA. It meets the qualifications and they are proud of their product. Lucid, I feel like there's a little bit of a lag. So let me know your viewpoint on that in the comments below. One final thing, if you are looking for some solid buy signals, pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, many of which have been absolutely on point. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.